I tell everybody I don't want it to be my narrative.
I met a gypsy.
So let's just dive straight into how fucking hard is it to make a 450 main event in 2021?
It's I tell everybody I don't want it to be my narrative because it is so hard, and I'm just doing it differently. I mean, racing isn't my main focus, although it's a big part of my life right at this moment in time, because it's taking a lot of my time as I'm going to the races every weekend. But the other 40 weeks of the year, I'm not riding at all. So for anybody, if you're training 365 days a year and this is what you eat, sleep, and breathe, it is still nearly impossible to make a 450 main event. And then when you ride as much or as little as I do, it's dang near impossible. I mean, the chances are so slim, and those guys are riding so good. So the way I put it is you're 1 to 20, or we'll say you're 1 to 15, you're 1 to 12 has always been, and always will be, ridiculously fast. What's really changed these last couple of years, in my opinion, is your 18 to 35. And I'm talking positions here. Like 35th place is flying. And I don't think that was the case, man, even 4 or 5 years ago. I don't think that was the case. The field wasn't as deep from that 20th to 40th position in the 450 class. You have your Cade Claysons, you have your Alex Rays. I could name 15 guys that all fall right into that category. It's very easy to get discouraged. I was talking to some guys after the race last night, and it's just like, you need to be in a certain headspace to just manage expectations and to be realistic. And of course you don't want to set goals too low, right? But when you go out there every single weekend, and if your goal was to make the main event, and we're 12 rounds deep, 13 rounds deep, and that was my one main goal and my main focus, I'd be pretty depressed at this point. So the goals are small. The goals are a little more creative. The goals are a little bit more, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's like I go out for a session and my goal is to keep my feet on the pegs. My goal is to be aggressive. My goal is to block past one person just to try to get that aggression. It's weird little goals like that first of all distracts my mind. And then secondly, and I think this is important, they're easily obtainable. So you kind of have that rewarding feeling. Whereas if my goal was main event, I'm chasing it for a year, I'm chasing it for 2 years, that's going to get discouraging really quick.
Yeah, so I think what you said about the narrative, I think that even for me, as a person that is commentating on the sport in a sense these days, I think we have to shift the narrative collectively as a sport away from just the podium, because I think whoever was on the box is who got talked about, and whoever wasn't on the box kind of failed, if that makes sense. I think that's been the narrative for a really long time. And you're right, man. There's guys, I watch your videos and I look at the way you ride a bike and I'm like, God damn, he looks so good. It's so, the level that you're riding at, I mean, let's go back 5-6 years. You might be in the top 15. You know what I mean? But nowadays it's just the game has changed. And I think about guys like right now, Dylan Ferrandis, Malcolm Stewart, Dean Wilson, these guys that they're not even, Ferrandis has been on the podium, but they're not even podium guys, and they're some of the best in the world. And I think that we're sort of heading into territory where we need to start, obviously the podium is always going to be the podium, but I think the expectations are changed for everybody, that we almost need to celebrate this best of the rest, the mid-pack, kind of the way that the Formula One does, and then really kind of appreciate just how difficult it is for guys like yourself A-Ray, Clayson, those dudes that are battling, Bowers. You know, you go back a couple years ago, man. Bowers was winning
Beast.
lights class races and battling with Coop for a championship. Now Coop is leading this championship and he's in the LCQ. So I think there's just this weird shift that's going on in the sport to where we really can't live and die by race results in the way that I think that we kind of have in the past, and the way that I think comes like naturally to people, if that makes sense.
And I think that perspective is shifting a little bit. I think the LCQ used to be looked at as like you would feel shame to go to the LCQ. I don't think it's as much like that anymore. I mean, I think the battles that are taking place and the racing that's taking place in the LCQ is taken a lot more seriously now.
Yeah.
Right? Because look at the names of the guys that are battling for those spots. They're fast freaking dudes. They are fast. I got 13th in the LCQ this weekend. I rode really well. I thought I rode great. I didn't make any mistakes, really. I got caught up in some stuff in the first couple laps, which is really the make or break, right? But even if you look at lap times, they were a second and a half faster than me. And I rode well. I was jumping pretty much everything. I was skimming the whoops, I think probably as fast as those guys were. It's just, yeah, I think that's going to change. And the 450 class will change before the 250. And then the 250 LCQ will eventually, hopefully, if the sport continues on this trend, will get to that point as well. You look at the 450 LCQ gate, if you watch one in person, every dude is going really, really fast.
Yeah.
I mean, you have like, I could just keep naming names. You have guys like Henry Miller, that are getting, like, Nick Schmidt is really good. Scott Champion, super good. I mean, you could go down that whole list. All of those guys are dang good. I qualified 37th in time qualifying 2 weekends ago. And I thought I had a good qualifying lap, and then I qualified 26th or whatever it was this weekend. And I felt the same. That's a 10 position jump. I almost didn't make the night show.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.